Attorney General Pam Bondi has ordered the DOJ to drop a Biden-era lawsuit against a Republican-led election law to suppress black voters. So this is one of the things typically that the DOJ does is when you have these state level laws that have the effect, or some would say the direct motivation of suppressing the vote, the DOJ is supposed to look into it, protect people's rights, because the DOJ is supposed to be working for us. Unfortunately, Pam Bondi is a personal lawyer to Donald Trump. That's what the DOJ is now. So they're not interested in that. And so if in these southern states or whatever, in this particular case in Georgia, they're suppressing the vote and they think it's going to affect the Democrats more, the purpose of the DOJ is to just let that continue. And that's what we're seeing here. So this was a lawsuit that was filed back in June of 2021. It alleged that this law would disproportionately hinder black voters' access to the polls, but Bondi framed the case as politically motivated, saying it misrepresented the law's effects. Now look, I'm not gonna say that the DOJ never does anything that's politically motivated. As an example, this story that we're talking about right now. She's stopping the lawsuit so they can suppress the vote to help Republican voters. So I guess it is actually conceivable that they could do it. But if you don't recall, and we covered this quite a bit at the time, the legislation established a voter ID requirement for mail-in ballots, shortened the time period to request a mail-in ballot, limited the number of ballot drop boxes specifically in Metro Atlanta. I guess we don't want it to be convenient to vote in that area. Whoever lives there, it will affect them. I don't know. I'm not looking into it, and I don't understand demographics. But and critics argue that this disproportionately affects marginalized communities. It's targeting black voters. It's targeting Democratic voters. Obviously. Sharon, we sort of saved this story for you because of where you're coming from. But what do you make of this?
You know, these are the same people. You remember here in Georgia, I think Larry David had a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode about it. With no water, no bottled water. It was so important, okay? And now, what are we doing here, okay? Do we want people to be able to vote? Do we want drop boxes? I just want you to define the terms, as I had to hang up on my Republican friend. I should stop using the word friend, but last night he proceeded to talk about this and say things like, it's not like you can't vote. You can still vote. What's the big deal? Well, the big deal is you're not even trying to hide what's going on here, which I might rather enjoy in one respect, because at least we can speak the truth about it, what you're doing. You won't, but we can. It's just too obvious.
Yeah, no, the entire thing is utterly frustrating. I mean, this is the issue. It's like you get the Republicans in, they pass terrible laws. They do like what they did in Georgia, but also they stop the very limited capacity we briefly had to investigate this. I don't even necessarily have faith that the DOJ would have done anything about this, and it probably would have ended up being appealed to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court has already shown that they don't give a damn about your access to vote. If you're not a white Republican, they don't give a damn if you ever can vote. And so, but at least we had the possibility. You had sort of due process, I guess. But unfortunately, not now. And that's kind of the point, I guess.